The movie begins with Jimmy watching the show Teletubbies with his siblings, until their mother suddenly bursts in, terrified. She tries to lock them in the room to protect them, but the infected, those with the rage virus, break in and attack them. Jimmy manages to escape, but his siblings are bitten by the infected. He runs out of the house and sees his mother being bitten by one of the infected. She tells Jimmy to run. He flees and keeps running until he reaches a nearby church, where his father is praying and preparing to face the infected. Jimmy tells him, "The infected attacked us. They killed Mom. Dad, tell me what's going on." His father replies, "Don't be afraid, son. This is the day we've been waiting for." He gives Jimmy a necklace with a cross on it and tells him to keep it and hide it. "Remember this necklace, we'll come back to it later." A horde of the infected storms into the church and attacks. The father doesn't move a muscle until they swarm him and bite him. Meanwhile, Jimmy hides in a secret spot. The narration says that the rage virus destroyed the United Kingdom. It came from Europe, and a quarantine was placed on Britain to stop its spread. And now, anyone who wants to survive must depend only on themselves. 28 years later, a band of survivors has built a village on Lindisfarne. Jimmy, one of them, is getting his son Spike ready to walk out through the village gates and kill his first infected with a bow and arrows. Part of the coming-of-age ritual now that Spike has reached adulthood. Spike's mother, Isla, is bedridden with a serious illness. Sometimes she is lucid, at other times she merely hallucinates. Spike comes to her and she asks whether he skipped school today. Jimmy answers that Spike won't be going to school. Today he's going hunting. Isla starts yelling, begging Jimmy not to take their son into the infected lands because he's still too young. Jimmy reminds her that they've talked this over many times. Spike and Jimmy gear up to leave. The villagers clap and cheer for Spike as he and his father head out. At the gate, the female guard warns him, "Anyone who goes through this gate, if he dies or gets lost in the forest, we don't go looking for him." Spike replies, "I'm ready." The gate opens and father and son step outside. Jimmy tells him, "Spike, we have to be back before it gets dark. The water trail ahead of us takes 7 hours." They enter the forest and soon encounter their first infected. Jimmy tells Spike to strike it in the neck. Spike hesitates, but in the end he drives his arrow into its neck. They continued forward until they reached a house where they found an infected person hanging upside down, tied by his legs. He was still moving and struggling. Jimmy told his son Spike, "Shoot him." But Spike was a bit scared and didn't want to do it at first. The infected started screaming and eventually broke free, lunging toward Spike. But just in time, Spike shot an arrow straight into his head. Jimmy and Spike got closer to the mainland. There they encountered a group of infected led by a powerful and intelligent Alpha. The infected chased them, but after killing most of them, Jimmy and Spike took shelter in a house until nightfall. Later that night, Spike noticed smoke and fire rising from a nearby place. He asked his father about it, but Jimmy said he didn't know and told him to forget about it. As they started to drift off to sleep, the house began to collapse on them. They quickly ran out and started sprinting back toward the village. The water level had risen a bit, but part of the path was still passable. As they neared the village gate, an Alpha was chasing them, but Jimmy managed to alert the guards, who fired a massive flaming arrow straight into the Alpha's chest. After that, the guards let Jimmy and Spike in. Everyone celebrated their return. They threw a party in Spike's honor. During the celebration, Spike saw his father Jimmy with a woman. They seemed to be in a romantic relationship. That moment shook Spike's trust in his father. Later, Spike went back home to check on his mother. He found Sam, who had been watching over her. Sam asked how the adventure went. Spike told him that he saw a place burning in the distance. Sam looked surprised and said, "So Dr. Ian Kelson is still alive?" Spike said, "I asked Jimmy and he said he didn't know him." But Sam replied, "He just didn't want to scare you. People say that doctor is insane." The next morning, Spike asked his father Jimmy if he knew Dr. Kelson. Jimmy stayed silent and didn't answer. Even when Spike asked him if he didn't want to help Ela get better, Jimmy kept avoiding the subject. They started arguing until Jimmy finally snapped and told Spike to stop talking about it and forget it. But Spike kept pushing, asking, "Be honest, do you want Mom to die?" That's when Jimmy slapped Spike. He regretted it right away, but Spike pulled out a knife and told him to stay away from him and from his mother, Ela. Later, Spike took Hila and left Lindisfarne, heading toward the mainland in search of Kelson. Hila kept falling in and out of consciousness, sometimes calling him Dad. At the same time, a NATO squad arrived on the mainland, but they were ambushed by the infected, and many of them were killed. Only 3 soldiers survived and fled into a tunnel where they came face to face with an Alpha. The Alpha killed one of them and cut off his head, but 1 soldier managed to escape. Meanwhile, as Spike and Isla continued their journey, a horde of infected started chasing them. They hid in a gas station filled with smoke and fumes. When the infected burst in, a soldier named Eric released the gas and set it on fire, killing them all. Eric was furious, blaming Spike for leading the infected to him. He said, "I wasted a lot of ammo because of you." Still, he took Spike and Hila with him. They sat down and started talking. Eric began telling Spike about the world outside Britain. Then he asked about Hila. "Who is she? I saw her calling you Dad." Spike replied, "That's my mom. She's sick. I'm trying to take her to the doctor." Eric asked, "Where is this doctor?" Spike answered, "Not far from here." As they continued walking, Hila suddenly heard the screams of an infected woman inside a bus. She looked at her and felt like the woman was pregnant. She tried to calm her down and began feeling a strange connection to her. After the woman gave birth, she suddenly turned violent, and Eric was forced to kill her. Spike and Hila noticed that the baby didn't have the rage virus, but Eric still intended to kill the baby. Before he could do anything, the Alpha attacked him, grabbed him, and tore off his head along with his spine. Spike and Hila ran away, and though Spike managed to shoot the Alpha several times, he couldn't bring it down. The Alpha kept chasing them until Dr. Kelson appeared and sedated it. He called it Samson and explained that he had injected it with a special toxin to keep it obedient. Kelson showed Spike and Hila the Temple of Bones, which he built as a kind of shrine to the dead. He had collected all their skulls and built a tower from them. He took Eric's head, burned off the flesh, and told Spike to choose a place for it. Spike placed Eric's skull among the others. Kelson explained that the baby wasn't infected because the mother's placenta had been protected, which prevented the virus from spreading to the child. Kelson examined Hila and confirmed that she had late-stage cancer. Spike was heartbroken. Crying, he pleaded with the doctor, "Please, do something. Is there any cure? I'll go get it, no matter where it is. Please, help my mom. We crossed dangerous lands just to reach you." But Dr. Kelson told him, "This disease has no cure. Your mother is in the final stage. There's nothing left but suffering." Hila had accepted her fate and comforted her son. Kelson sedated Spike, and while he was asleep, Hila went to him and asked him to end her life peacefully so she wouldn't suffer. When Spike woke up, Kelson handed him his mother's skull and told him, "Choose the best place for her." Spike climbed to the top of the skull tower and placed Hila's skull there. The next day, Spike and Kelson were attacked again by Samson. They fled and jumped into a pit. When Samson began to choke Kelson, Spike shot him in the arm with an arrow laced with morphine, sedating him. Afterward, Spike thanked Kelson for saving his life. Kelson told him, "You need to leave this area. It's dangerous for you and the baby." They parted ways. Spike took the baby, he named her Hila, and returned to Lindisfarne. He left her in a basket with a letter for Jimmy and the villagers, asking them to take care of her because she was clean and not infected. Jimmy ran to the river, hoping to find Spike, but the water had risen. 28 days later, Spike was cooking a fish he had caught when infected attacked him. He'd killed one of them, but more came, and they chased him until he reached a dead end. Suddenly, a blond man appeared with a group of followers who looked like him. They offered to help, and Spike accepted immediately. The cult members began performing acrobatic moves and killed all the infected. The man introduced himself and said his name was Jimmy. He was wearing the same cross necklace we saw at the beginning of the film, still around his neck. He looked at Spike and said, "We need to become friends." And that brings us to the end of the film. Hope you enjoyed the recap. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel to stay updated with our latest content. See you in the next video. Thanks for watching.